Hey, what's up YouTubers? Lee John Blackmore here at Super Easy Guitar. So some of you guys have been asking me, what the hell are bar chords? Can you please explain them? Can you tell us a little bit of theory behind them? Of course I can. So before I get into it, don't forget to check out the links below. I've got a Spotify playlist with virtually all the songs I've done lessons for. And I've got another channel and Instagram if you want to send me a request. So check those out. Let's zoom in and get straight into it. The most important thing you need to know about bar chords is that they're actually just open chords moved up the fretboard. Okay, and you see them in, when you're learning songs, you might go, yeah, it's a D chord, I know that. It's an A chord. Oh no, I've got a B minor. It's a really beautiful sound, but I can't do it because I don't have the strength yet. That's okay. It's completely normal as a beginner not to have the strength yet to be able to do a bar chord, and it ends up sounding really awful. Okay, so one thing to know, this is completely normal. No matter how old you are, how long you've been playing the guitar, bar chords can be difficult. Okay, if you keep on going with them, they will get easier. All right, but let me explain what they are. So let's take the E chord, okay? Now, with the E chord, the very first note we hit is the E string. And it just so happens that E string is open, all right? Therefore, we're playing an open chord because it has open strings, okay? So the first note we hit, in this case, determines the name of the chord, which is E. So if we wanted to make it an E major, okay, so it's happy E, all right, as opposed to E minor, but we're going to just stick with E major for now. So if I wanted to move that 1 degree higher, it would just go from an E to becoming an F. So there's E, there's F. It's the first note in the first fret on the bottom E string. So if you know these notes up here, you can effectively play any chord as long as you know what these notes are. So, it's really easy. It just goes E, F, F sharp G, G sharp A sharp B, C, C sharp D, D sharp E. And up there is our 12th fret. It's what we call an octave, okay, because there's 8 whole tones. And then it starts again. So it goes E, F, E, F, F sharp, G, and so on, okay? So that's all you need to know, really. So when I'm playing this E chord, instead of doing it normally like this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap the fingers around. So now instead of using my first, second, third finger like that, where my first finger is, I'm going to put my second, and where my second finger was, I'm going to put my third, and where my third was, I'm going to put the pinky, okay? And then you've got this finger hanging out here like this, okay? So what we're going to do with this chord, that's just an E. I know you're not familiar with playing an E like this, but go with it, all right? What we're going to do, we're going to slide this shape, this form, up 1 fret. So every finger, I see a lot of this, when people try and slide for the first time. What you want to do is just keep each finger in the right place. So now my second finger is in the 2nd fret and my 3rd and 4th fingers are in the 3rd fret, okay? And we don't really want to strum it, but it's going to sound like that, which is quite Spanish-y, okay, which is quite nice. But that's an E, but we want an F. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring that up 1, and then we're going to just put this finger down. Now, I'm not barring yet. I'm not using my first finger to cover all the strings. I'm just pressing down on that first note, which I told you was F, okay? So the first fret on the bottom E string is F. So now I've got this. So those top 2 strings are still ringing out. So we're not going to play them for now. All we're going to play is the 6th string, the 5th string, the 4th, and if you can, the 3rd. All right? Now that's the beginnings to a bar. So effectively what we've done, we've moved that E shape it's what we call an E form, all right? And we've moved it up 1 fret. It's still an E form, but now by putting this finger on the bottom E, we've put it on the F note. It now becomes an F because the first note we hit, even though it's on the bottom E string, it's no longer E, it's F. So you might get that first time, okay? But like I said, we're not worried too much about those top strings for now. So now that's an F. It's not quite a bar chord because what we're not doing, we're not flattening our finger on these top 2 strings, okay? As soon as you get the strength to do that, that's going to sound exactly the same as an E. There's your E, except 1 higher. So therefore it becomes an F. Now, so this bottom string is very important to telling us the names of the chord. So if we move it up 1 more, this note here, the 2nd fret on the bottom E string, is now F sharp, okay? Because it's 1 higher than F, so it's F sharp. So therefore, if I play those notes, that's an F sharp chord. Even though the form still looks like an E, because we've changed the root, we can now call it an F sharp. Let's go up 1 higher. Now that's a G, right? So a normal G sounds like that, okay? Or like that. Now we can do exactly the same chord in a bar. All I'm going to do is take that E shape again. I'm going to move it up until my first finger lands on the 3rd fret, because that note is G, the 3rd fret on the bottom E string. Now when I play the E form, remember it's no longer called E because we've moved it, it's now called G. Okay, so listen to that. There's G, and listen to that. It's pretty much the same, right? It's what we call a different voicing. It sounds slightly different. That's because that's an open chord, it's using open strings, and this is a bar chord because we're using the finger to bar, to cover down the string. So it gives us a different voicing, okay? But they're exactly the same notes. If we were to go through the notes 1 by 1, you would see that they are exactly the same notes 1 by 1 in here, okay? Now, but let's move on from that right now. So we're going to go to the 5th fret on the bottom E. So what's going to happen here? So I'm going to put my finger on the 5th fret on the bottom E, and I'm going to make that E form, that E shape. But now remember, we're not on the open. We've now moved it up to the 5th fret. So guess what? This note here is A. So therefore, it's an A chord, okay? Even though this form hasn't changed, it still looks like an E. Because we've changed the root, it's now an A. Now listen to this. That's A. That's A. They're both A. But they're just different voicings. They just sound slightly different, okay? So it's very important to know your open chords for starters. Okay, say E and A to start off with. And it's very important to know the notes just on the bottom E string. Now, if we went all the way up to the 10th fret, if you could reach up there. So my first finger's in the 10th fret, my second finger's playing this E shape in the 11th, and my 3rd and 4th are in the 12th fret. So if you're on a classical, that's going to be right up next to the body. And if I play all the strings, now what chord is that going to be? So it's the 10th fret on the bottom E. Well, you could count them up. Here we go. So open is going to be O. First fret is going to be 1, F. 3rd fret, G. 5th fret, A. 7th fret, B. C, C sharp. 10th 10th fret is going to be D. Okay, and there's a D. You see, it's the same chord, but it's a different voicing. And the reason why they sound the same, because they use exactly the same notes. Exactly the same notes. They're just played a different place on the fretboard. So there could be another way of playing D as well. So there's D up here with the root on the bottom E string. But what if we had the root on the A string? So check this out, right? A chord, A major, looks like that, right? 3 in a row. I don't play the bottom E anymore because the first note is on the A string. I'm going to swap the fingers around. Instead of playing my first, second, third, I'm swapping the fingers second, third, fourth. Now this is a lot harder, but you'll get the idea. Now if I slide those just one, I'll put my first finger down in the first fret on the A string. Now, guess what? That's one higher than A, so it's going to be A sharp. Slide the whole thing up, another one. Okay, now my first finger is on the B. That note is B because it goes A sharp, B. Now that's B. Now let's skip a few and go right up to 5. So now my first finger's on 5. I'm still playing this A form, all right? Okay, and I can't quite get that. Guess what? That's a D. So there's a normal D, open D. There's a D with the root on the 5th fret on the A string. Or we could play it with the root on the 10th fret on the E string. And they're all D. So it's 3 ways of playing D. Now, you notice, because I'm on the A string, I play this A form. Okay, an easier thing to do would be play A minor. Swap the fingers around, slide it up 1, put the first finger down. A sharp minor. Guess what? Slide it up again. B minor. So if I bring it up to 5, D minor. Okay? But what about this one up here? That was the E form, it was major. How do we make the E form normally into a minor? Well, we take away the first finger, right? So it becomes an E minor. So if we go back up to this D, that's a D major, because we got this major form. Take away the second finger, and look, this shape here now looks like an E minor. But because the root is D, it's now a D minor. Major, put the finger back on. E major shape. E minor shape. Here you go. E major, E minor. Swap the fingers around. E major, E minor. You can slide it up anywhere you like, say to 5. We know that's A, 5. Major, make it into a minor form. Minor. If we go over to the D string, we're not playing the E string anymore. 5th fret. It looks like an A major I'm playing, but I changed the root to D, okay? Okay? Make it into make the A form into A minor. We've changed the root to a D. It's a D minor. You can keep on going. So that's D, D sharp, E. You can change that to a minor. E minor. Right up here. Okay. So that's the basics of it. Now, to be able to play all these chords takes a lot of practice, all right? Now, it's just strength in the hand. I've met adults that told me they gave up guitar because they couldn't do bar chords. Well, shame on you, because it just takes a bit of practice, and everyone goes through it. Every single person that's picked up the guitar has struggled with bar chords because they're difficult, okay? You don't have to do them. Some people say my hands are too small. Some people say my hands are too big. My fingers are too thick. My fingers are too thin. I've heard all the excuses. My wrist hurts. You know, whatever. If your thumb is in the correct position, which is in the middle of the back on your guitar neck, okay, and you squeeze between your thumb and your first finger to make that bar. Even if you can do it just for a second, like squeeze, that's it, that's fine, okay? And then that will improve over time. You might get this, okay? But don't worry. So eventually you'll get them to all ring out. Now, you have to take my word on this. I never had a teacher. I thought I was doing something wrong, and I just kept at it and kept at it, and guess what? I was able to play them, okay? So you have to go through that same thing as well. It might take a week, it might take 10 weeks, it might take a year, but I promise you, you will get there. Okay, so that's just an introduction to what bar chords are without going into the nitty-gritty of detail. I hope you found that interesting, and I hope that's made things a bit easier to understand. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate your support. Don't forget, give me the thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. I'll see you again the same time next week. Enjoy.